We are fed a dangerous lie that sincerity guarantees loyalty. It doesn't. In the modern world, endless availability isn't a virtue. It is a signal of low value. Look at the dynamic. One person waits by the phone, anxious and desperate. The other holds the power of silence. You are currently the chaser. And in this brutal market, chasers always finish last. Stop handing over your dignity. It is time to stop being an option and become an obsession. There are two roles in this game, the player and the played. Choose. What I am about to hand you is not standard relationship advice. It is not about communication or finding common ground. Those are fairy tales. This is psychological warfare, based on a mechanism called intermittent reinforcement. I call it dark intelligence. Understand this clearly. This is a loaded weapon. Narcissists and manipulators use these exact tactics to keep you addicted, anxious, and waiting by the phone. I am revealing this logic so you can dismantle their game, not so you can become a predator. Use this to defend your sanity, not to destroy someone else's. The era of the nice guy finishing last ends today. Stop being a doormat for people who view you as a convenience. If you are ready to flip the script and stop begging for scraps of attention, you need to make a pact with yourself right now. Go to the comments and type these words. I control my value. Do it. Solidify your intent. Differentiate yourself from the masses who just watch and forget. Are you a survivor or are you prey? Make the commitment. Machiavelli once observed that fear preserves you by a dread of punishment which never fails. But there is a force stronger than fear and far more dangerous than love. It is the anticipation of a reward that may never come. Let's look at the machinery of your own behavior. Why do you get bored with a vending machine but addicted to a slot machine? The vending machine is consistent. You put $1 in, you get a soda out. It is reliable, it is safe, and because it is predictable, you feel zero emotional attachment to it. You get what you want, and you walk away. Now consider the slot machine. You pull the lever, nothing. You pull again, nothing. You pull a third time, jackpot. The lights flash, the bells ring. Your brain is flooded with dopamine. But here is the trick. It's not the winning that keeps you there. It's the times not knowing times when you will win. This is not just gambling, this is biology. B.F. Skinner proved this decades ago with what he called intermittent reinforcement. He found that when a reward, whether it's food for a lab rat or a text message for a human, is given consistently, the subject eventually loses interest. But when that reward is given randomly, the behavior becomes obsessive. The subject will keep pressing the lever until they collapse, just hoping for that one hit of validation. Most people act like vending machines. They give their affection, their time, and their loyalty freely and constantly. They think this makes them safe partners. In reality, it makes them boring. When you are always available, always nice, and always predictable, you kill the mystery. You become a utility, not a prize. Smart people understand that consistency is the death of desire. They don't play games to be cruel. They play to remain relevant. They understand that if you want to occupy someone's mind, you cannot let them figure out your pattern. You must become the slot machine. You must be the source of both their frustration and their relief. When they can't predict your next move, they can't stop watching you. That is the science of addiction. The fundamental law of economics is supply and demand. What is abundant is cheap. What is scarce is expensive. Yet, in the digital age, you are bankrupting your own value every single day. Most people operate with a poverty mindset regarding their attention. You see a notification on WhatsApp or iMessage, and you twitch. You reply within seconds. You think this shows respect. You think this shows you are reliable. Wrong. It shows you have nothing better to do. It signals that your time has zero cost, and your attention is free for the taking. Let's talk about the cardinal sin of modern communication, the double text. You send a message, silence, an hour passes. You see the 3 dots appear and disappear. Anxiety spikes, so you send another one. Did you see this? Or just a passive-aggressive question mark? You have just negotiated against yourself and lost. You have confirmed that you are waiting, watching, and depending on their validation. You are training them to ignore you. By being constantly available, you remove the psychological trigger of anticipation we discussed earlier. There is no dopamine rush in receiving a message from someone who is always there. You categorize yourself as a low-value resource, a commodity, something that can be picked up and put down at will because it is never going anywhere. Smart people operate differently. They do not manufacture artificial delays. They simply prioritize their mission over their notifications. When you withdraw your availability, you force them to wonder, why isn't he answering? Who is she with? What is he doing that is more important than me? In that specific moment of doubt, their obsession begins. Your absence creates a vacuum that they feel compelled to fill. Your silence is louder than your presence ever could be. Treat your attention like gold, not like a flyer you hand out on the street. Nice is the enemy of desire. You have been told to be consistent, to be the rock. That is a lie designed to keep you subservient. When you are always pleasant, always agreeable, and always validating, you become background noise. You blend into the wallpaper of their life. Here is the psychological reality. Dependency is not built on constant satisfaction. It is built on the time's interruption, times of satisfaction. Behavioral psychology tells us that when rewards, attention, affection, praise are variable, the brain releases dopamine in anticipation. It is the chase that hooks the mind, not the catch. So how do you apply this? You must master the art of temperature control. Most of you run lukewarm. You are safely pleasant 24/7. That is why you are forgettable. To become an obsession, you must operate in extremes. You need to curate high highs and low lows. When you are present, be electric. On a date, be the most charismatic person they have ever met. Look them in the eye. Make them feel like the center of the universe. Give them the cinematic experience. But the next day, you do not follow up with a paragraph of text. You switch gears. You are consumed by your mission. You are buried in your work. You are brief. You are distant. This sudden shift from intense warmth to professional detachment triggers a panic response in their brain. What happened? Did I do something wrong? How do I get that feeling back? Now they are working for your approval. They are chasing the high you previously provided. If you are always sunny, they will take the weather for granted. If you bring the storm, they will watch the sky. Stability creates comfort, but comfort is boring. Unpredictability creates addiction. Stop trying to be their steady rock and start being the puzzle they cannot solve. Information is currency, and right now, most of you are spending it like a drunken sailor. You operate under the delusion that sharing creates connection. You think that if you post your gym workout, your acai bowl, and your late-night thoughts on your Instagram story, people will feel closer to you. They don't. They just get bored. Think about retail. When a store has too much inventory that nobody wants, What do? They put a big red clearance sign in the window. That is exactly what your social media presence is doing. By broadcasting every minute detail of your life, you are running a 24/7 clearance sale on your privacy. You are shouting to the world, "Look at me. I am here. I am open. I have no secrets." You are destroying the very thing that creates attraction, mystery. Behavioral science teaches us that the brain is a problem-solving machine. It is designed to figure things out. If you hand over all the answers before the test even starts, the brain disengages. If they know exactly where you are on Saturday night because you geotagged the club, they have no reason to text you and ask, "What are you up to?" You killed the conversation before it could even breathe. You satisfied their curiosity for free. Smart people operate like a vault, not a billboard. They understand the power of information asymmetry. They let you see the result, but never the process. They post a photo of the view, but not who they are with. They go dark for 3 days, then reappear with a tan. This gap in information drives the other person crazy. They start filling in the blanks with their own imagination, and usually their imagination paints a picture far more attractive than reality. Stop being an open book. A book that is read cover to cover in 5 minutes is thrown on the shelf and forgotten. Be a novel written in a code they have to crack. Make them work for every single piece of information. If they want to know you, make them pay for it with their attention. Amateurs linger. They wait until the conversation runs dry. They wait until the lights come on at the bar. They wait until the spark fades into an awkward silence before saying goodbye. You do this because you are greedy for the good feeling. You want to soak up every last drop of attention. But by staying too long, you are actively devaluing the experience. Strategic withdrawal is the ultimate power move. It is the discipline to leave the table while you are still winning. Psychology gives us a concept called the peak end rule. The human brain does not remember an experience by its average. It remembers the most intense moment and the final moment. If you let a date drag on until you are both tired and scrolling through your phones, that is what they will remember. You just killed your own momentum. Instead, execute the high-note exit. Picture the scenario. You are at a party or on a date. The energy is high. You just shared a massive laugh. The chemistry is undeniable. Everything in your body wants to stay and order another round. Do not do it. Look at your watch. Stand up. Leave. This feels counterintuitive. It feels dangerous. But this interruption triggers a psychological mechanism known as the Zeigarnik effect, the brain's obsession with unfinished tasks. By cutting the interaction at its peak, you deny them the resolution. You deny them the boring, "come down." Now, they are not driving home thinking, "That was nice." They are driving home thinking, "Why did they leave? When will I see them again?" You have planted a seed of uncertainty that will grow into obsession. You turned yourself from a sure thing into a cliffhanger. Most people are afraid to walk away because they fear they will be forgotten. The reality is the opposite. We only forget what we have fully consumed. We obsess over what was taken away too soon. Always leave them wanting more. The ultimate paradox of power is this: the person who needs the other person the least always holds the most control. Yet, most of you are walking around with a gaping hole in your chest, begging the world to fill it with validation. You post a photo on Instagram, and you check your phone 5 times in 10 minutes to see if the numbers went up. You send a text, and your entire mood depends on the tone of their reply. You are not acting like a leader. You are acting like a parasite feeding on their approval. This reeks of desperation. And believe me, Human beings can smell desperation on you like cheap cologne. It repulses them. When your happiness is contingent on their reaction, you are handing them the remote control to your emotions. You are telling them, "Here, you decide if I have a good day or a bad day. Stop it." Emotional autonomy is the state of being self-contained. It is the stoic realization that your value is an internal constant, not an external variable. When you interact with someone, you must have the attitude of a man who has already eaten. You are there because you want the dessert, not because you are starving for the meal. When they sense that you are fine without them, truly fine, not pretending, the dynamic shifts instantly. They realize they cannot manipulate you with silence. They cannot hurt you with distance. You become a fortress they cannot breach. If you chase approval, you will run forever. If you stand still in your own worth, the world comes to you. If you need them, they will run. If you do not need them, they will kneel. Humans are herd animals. We do not judge value in a vacuum. We look around to see who else is buying. If a restaurant is empty on a Friday night, you assume the food is bad. If there is a line around the block, you assume it is excellent. You are that restaurant. And right now, most of you look empty. To trigger obsession, you must utilize social proof. This is the psychological lever of pre-selection. It signals that you have already been vetted and approved by the market. But you do not achieve this by bragging about how popular you are. That screams insecurity. You achieve it through 3 specific, subtle cues. First, the hard stop. Never accept a date with an open-ended time frame. When you are making plans, you say, "I can grab a drink, but I have to be at a dinner by 8. You don't say who the dinner is with. It could be a client, a friend, or another date. The ambiguity is the weapon. It tells them your time is a scarce resource that others are competing for. Second, the phantom we. When telling a story, casually drop the word we without immediately explaining who you were with. "We tried that new Italian place downtown last night. It was incredible." Their mind will instantly race to categorize this we. Is it a rival? Is it a threat? You have introduced a ghost into the room. Third, the digital cue. When you are with them and your phone buzzes, do not hide it, but do not check it. Let them see the screen light up. Let them see that the world is trying to reach you. Then, deliberately flip the phone over and ignore it. You send a double signal. You are in high demand, but you are choosing to give times your attention right now. That is a powerful compliment wrapped in a display of dominance. Competition creates urgency. If they think they are the only one playing, they will play slow. If they think they might lose you to the market, they will play to win. Sun Tzu said, "He who is prudent and lies in wait for an enemy who is not, will be victorious." But the ultimate victory is the ability to leave the battlefield entirely. This is the willingness to walk away. In the West, you are conditioned to fight for love or make it work. That is slave morality. It keeps you trapped in situations that drain you. You operate with a scarcity mindset. You act as if this one person is the last bottle of water in the Mojave Desert. Because you fear thirst, you accept their disrespect. You accept their crumbs. You accept their silence. You must adopt the abundance mindset. This is the belief, no, the knowledge times that you are the prize, and there are thousands who would compete for your spot. When you truly believe this, you do not negotiate boundaries, you enforce them. If they disrespect your time, you leave. If they play games with your emotions, you leave. You do not threaten to leave, you simply disappear. Here is the cold truth. You can never negotiate a genuine desire. You cannot argue someone into respecting you. The only thing that generates respect is the realization that you are not afraid to lose them. When they see you are ready to pack your bags and never look back, they panic, because in that moment, they realize they do not own you. If you cannot walk away, you are not in a relationship. You are in a cage. Knowledge without execution is just entertainment. You have consumed the theory. Now you must deploy the weapon. Here is your mission for the next 7 days. I want you to treat your social circle like a laboratory. Pick one target. It could be that dismissive colleague in the open plan office who interrupts you in meetings, or the situationship that keeps leaving you on red. Stop initiating. Completely cut the supply of free attention. Apply the silence. When they finally reach out, and they will give them a brief burst of warmth, then immediately withdraw again. Watch the panic set in. Watch how quickly they scramble to regain the ground they thought they owned. I want you to report back. In the comments below, tell me, which of these 8 traits do you see most often in the people who control the room? Is it the silence? Is it the willingness to walk away? Analyze the game around you. A final word of caution. These tools are sharp. I did not hand them to you so you could become a manipulator. I handed them to you so you would stop being a casualty. Use this dark intelligence to defend your boundaries, not to destroy innocent people. Use it to serve something greater than your ego. The world is a chessboard. You can either be the player moving the pieces or the pawn getting sacrificed. Make your move.